All right, so this lecture is about Sarah and the announcement of the angels about having a son. This is from the Torah portion called Vayera. Now, when the Malachim, the angels, first announced to Avraham that he will have a son through Sarah, the words that they used, as recorded in Bereshit or Genesis 18:10, Shov ashuv elecha ke'et haya v'hine ven l'Sarah ishtecha. I will surely return to you at this time next year, and behold, your wife Sarah will have a son. Now, when Hashem tells Avraham after Sarah laughs in verse 14, he uses the words Ashuv elecha ke'et chaya u'l'Sarah ben. Translated, at the appointed time I will return to you at this time next year, and Sarah will have a son. That's what God said directly to Avraham. Now, why is the language changed? First it was said, V'hine ven l'Sarah, and by Hashem it was, V'l'Sarah ven. Now, it could have simply also have said, V'yesh ben l'Sarah, or something like that. So we have to understand, when the Torah uses words, it uses them for specific reasons and purposes and to reveal incredible treasures. Nothing is happenstance when it comes to the Torah. There are deep secrets over here, and you're going to find out very, very soon. Some very, very interesting insights that you probably never heard before, so stay tuned. Now, come and understand, there is also another meaning to the word ben that is alluded to here. It is also further connected to Sarah and her laughter. The Torah also further wanted to let us know something else. It wanted to use specifically the word v'l'Sarah and not just the word l'Sarah. One is and to Sarah and one is to Sarah. So why the change and why do we care? Again, you'll find out soon. We will understand this. Now, to begin to understand this matter, we first need to understand what causes laughter. Good question. Maybe never thought about it. Laughter is caused by something that unexpectedly happens, something that usually we find safe and pleasurable and not harmful or a threat to us. Now, this information, when this happens, literally can be transmitted to us via any of our senses that we experience, whether it's hearing, seeing, or any kind of physical sensations. All of this can cause laughter. Our mind sets natural boundaries in order to our understanding of what to expect. This is based on intellect, pattern, and occurrence. The occurrence of things becomes fact, and this solidifies our understanding of things and thus sets the borders of expectancy. When something happens that is outside of these borders that fits in the criteria as listed above, this causes us to laugh. Now, the reality is that it is Hashem who sets the nature of things in this world. It is only by His constant will that things function as they do. We forget or we do not take it to heart and mind that if any time Hashem wants, He can change the very, very nature of all things, thus making what we call miracles. This is the level and connection of intimacy that Hashem wanted to have with Avraham and Sarah that would further be passed down to their holy seed of Yisrael, meaning the children of Israel. This is why, accordingly, it was an impossibility for both Avraham and Sarah initially to have any children by the very order and structure of nature. Our very existence is solely dependent on God, on Hashem's direct involvement and attention outside of the laws of nature that He originally set up. And it continues still to this very day. Now, we'll understand further that Avraham represents the Sephirah of Chesed. Now we're going to get into a little Kabbalah. Now, Chesed is found on the right side. As is known, the Sephirah of Chesed has no true borders that causes restriction or limitation. With Chesed, anything is possible. This is why Avraham did not laugh when he was able to defeat the 4 kings in the land even through miracles. For him it was a necessity. It was a necessary victory that had to be achieved. Therefore, if sand had to become arrows, as the Midrash explains, then it would be of no surprise to Avraham that such a miracle would happen that would actually cause laughter. What did cause his laughter was when Hashem told him in chapter 17, verse 16, V'gam natati mimena lecha ben, meaning that I will give you from her, from Sarah, a son. Therefore, the next verse says, in the next pasuk there, it says, Vayipol Avraham al panav, vayitzchak, vayomer belibo, halaven, mea shana, yevaled, ve'im Sarah, havat tishim shana, teled, meaning, and Avraham fell on his face and he laughed, and he said in his heart, shall a child be born to him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, give birth? Now understand, this was not a real question. It was a rhetorical question, not a question of doubt. It was, as it was actually, in some level in regard to Sarah. This is also why Hashem did not rebuke Avraham, as Hashem did by Sarah. In Avraham's view, all was already set in order to fulfill the promise and purpose that Hashem gave him. This could have been achieved through, in his eyes, according to his understanding, his son Yishmael, who was already born. Now he thought when Hashem told him in Genesis and Bereshit 15:4, Ki im asher yetzei me'me'acha hu yirashecha, he that will emerge from your loins or your innards, he will be your inheritor, that this was in regard to Yishmael, and that would have been just fine with him. There was no reason, based on his understanding, why Hashem had to go out of his way, in the way of nature, to give him another son, and that would have to come necessarily from Sarah. When Hashem told him that, in fact, this was going to happen, it was outside of his understanding why Hashem would have to do this for him, or would do this for him. But he was not doubting that it could be done. Therefore, when he heard this, as it is written, it says over there, V'ha'eman ba'adonai v'yachshaveha lo tzedakah, in verse 6, and he believed in Hashem and considered it as righteousness. This is why he laughed, because Hashem would fulfill his promise and purpose of creation through his heart's full desire, through a son from Sarah, his true wife. Now, in regard to Sarah, let's speak a bit more Kabbalah here. She is on the left column attached to the Sphira of Bina, which is divine intellect, which is above, higher than Chesed, and thus higher than Avraham. It is here in Bina that this is a side on the left, that borders are defined and of necessity. Therefore, Sarah understood the nature and order of things better than Avraham, for this defined her life and her direction. When Sarah heard these words from the Malach, from the angel, about her giving birth, this was her biggest desire, but it transversed, went outside of her borders of understanding in regard to the natural order that Hashem set up. This is what caused her to laugh. Sarah was now put into a very difficult situation, for the borders defined her reality of who she was. So by laughing, she cleaved to her borders, that anything that would go outside of them was extremely, a very high improbability, if not an impossibility. However, still, in regard to Hashem, she knew that Hashem could do anything and thus make a miracle that would be outside of her understanding. But it was her rigid, defined understanding that initially held her borders secure. This is why she denied that she laughed, and why Hashem reprimanded her, that there is nothing beyond what Hashem is able to do, that He alone, Hashem, is the exception to the rule in regard to her correct understanding of the nature and order of things. This is also why Hashem told Avraham to listen to Sarah, Also there, in regarding sending away Ishmael and Hagar, it says over there, recorded in Genesis, Bereshit 21:12, Kol asher tomar elecha v'Sarah shama bekolah. Meaning, and all that Sarah says to you, listen to her voice. This is what God was telling Avraham to do. And again, this is in regard to when Sarah told Avraham, as it's recorded in verse 10, V'tomer la'Avraham garash ha'amah hazot v'et bana ki lo yirash ben ha'amah hazot im b'ni im Yitzchak. Translated, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be an heir with my son, even with Yitzchak. Sarah was able to perceive this with the utmost clarity based on her complete understanding of things, because the borders in her mind and in her intellect defined her and the level of Bina. This was again her spiritual intellect knowing what was proper and true. In light of all of this, we can begin to understand why Hashem changed his words when speaking with Avraham and said to him, V'lasara ben. Hashem was giving him a hint. This was to Avraham and also to Sarah about the nature and destiny of this son that was soon to be born to Sarah, the woman with the strongest borders that held to the order of nature. Now behold and come to understand this. This is the secret now. The gematria of the word V'lasara is the same as the name Yisrael, being the gematria numerical value of 541. We can therefore understand this as Yisrael ben. Yisrael will be the destiny of this son. As is known, the very name Yisrael, where did it come from? It was first given by a malach, by an angel, the angel of Esav, the arch enemy as it's called, when he was defeated by Yaakov. Therefore, this name Yisrael and the very essence of it is to break the borders of laws of nature. And now this is important because the whole purpose is to live in accordance to the will of Hashem, which is beyond nature. In fact, our very existence of the Jewish people, the children of Israel, defies the very laws of nature. This is what Hashem wanted and the lesson that we must all learn. Now come and understand further another meaning of the word ben. And we're going to go deeper into the levels of Kabbalah. It pertains to the worlds and name of Hashem in accordance to Av Sagma Ben. Now, as is known, Hashem's holy name, Yud Ke Vav Ke, when written full with the letter He at the end, so He is He, has the gematria value numerical of 52. This is Ben. And it corresponds to this lowest world, the world of Asiya, world of action, this physical world. Hashem, according to his infinite wisdom, has deemed it that within this physical world that is defined by the natural order and principles, that there is to be placed one nation called Yisrael, from this very son that will not be restricted by these physical laws, but is above them, thus breaking through the borders of the natural understanding. This is the final destiny of Yisrael. Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, the Jewish people, that will cause the ultimate final laugh of all the people of the world. It will show that all is from God, always from Hashem, and guided by him always. And this will reveal his true oneness, as it is written, Bayom hahu yihiyeh Adonai echad ushmo echad. And it will be in that day that God will be one and his name one. This is the destiny of the children of Israel. that will definitely be fulfilled. Amen.